The anti-gun crowd once again uses a government agency to push their agenda. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms, your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And once again, if you like my channel, you like my content, I hope that you would support me through the Patreon link down below. I'm trying to establish other financial avenues through sponsorships and what have you, but anything is appreciated. I like doing this. I like getting this information out there. I like being a voice for pro-Constitution, pro-Second Amendment people. But let's talk about this. Now, as you know, and I've spoken about this before, over the last couple of years, or last year, I spoke about the CDC, the Biden administration trying to use the CDC as a way to push gun control through the alphabet agencies. And you see him doing this repeatedly through this administration, using the ATF with just arm race rule we just had. Well, it seems that these anti-gun advocates are trying to weaponize another federal agency to get gun control. I found this interesting article on the NRA website, and we're going to jump into that. Now, I don't need to read all of this. I just want to give you the nuts and bolts of this. But prohibitionists seek to weaponize yet another federal agency to target guns. It's a pretty long article, and it gets into a lot of nuances that we don't really need. But I'm going to jump all the way down to the nuts and bolts. Now, here we go, right here. Okay, start here because this is where it's at. Last September, a partisan group of anti-gun senators wrote a letter to urge the chairwoman of the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, to undertake an investigation and consider regulation of the unfair and deceptive advertising practices used by the firearms industry. As activists formerly had with tobacco companies, these senators accused gun companies of specifically targeting and tailoring its advertisement to children and teenagers. Indeed, the letter cited actions against the tobacco and e-cigarettes industries as perhaps the paradigmatic example of the agency's authority to suppress supposedly harmful advertising aimed at children. The supposedly false and misleading advertising claims the senator demanded the FTC take action against included military and law enforcement themes meant to appeal to young men and marketing firearms to consumers as a safe and proven product to protect themselves and their homes. Well, firearms are an effective product for protecting yourself. How is that misleading advertising? But you don't need an advertisement to tell you that the gun is a great equalizer. But that's a whole nother thing. But as the letter indicates, similar efforts to draft the FTC into the gun control cause date back to at least 1996. And as the senators admit, the FTC, however, has never taken public action in response to the petition. This is their quote. That is likely because the petition reduces to their essence all the ask to FTC to enshrine as truth the highly debatable and emotionally overwrought assertions of gun control activists, and as falsehoods and deceptions any positive image gun makers present of their own products. In other words, the gun control activists want the FTC to conclusively resolve every existing debate about firearms in their favor and to censor any message to the contrary in firearms-related advertising. Good news. So far, the FTC has declined the invitation to become the ultimate arbiter about what is true and false in the gun debate, but efforts to pressure the agency into becoming the 800-pound gorilla of federal gun control censorship continues. Last month, for example, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer again called for the FTC to investigate a company for marketing a firearm designed around the needs of minors who are learning to responsibly handle guns. The law says you shouldn't be marketing guns to kids, Schumer insisted, but there is a company in Chicago that is doing exactly that, he continued. As Schumer likely known, his statement was false. There's nothing in the FTC's enabling statute or voluminous regulations that prohibit a gun company from advertising the fact that it makes a firearm geared towards the needs of young users. Rather, Schumer was signaling to what he knows or hopes are activist bureaucrats within the FTC to invent legal authorities for the proposition. Okay, so I just want you to understand that. Anti-gun advocates, activists, whatever they want to call themselves, are using, once again, another federal agency to push gun control, claiming that they're advertising to children. Back in the day, and not too long ago, even here in Connecticut, there were high schools here in Connecticut that had high-power rifle teams. And this wasn't that far back. I believe it was 80s, 90s. They had this where the kids would bring their rifles to school. And I remember in Stanford, it used to be before Long Ridge Road and High Ridge Road developed as much as they did, kids would go hunting up above Long Ridge and High Ridge roads, and they go to school with their guns, and the guns were locked up in the school. We never had mass shootings. So this notion that the accessibility to firearms is somehow the catalyst to mass shooting is absolutely nonsense. We have more gun control now than we have ever had, yet we have mass shootings. It is correlation these anti-gun groups try to make. It just doesn't hold up under historical scrutiny and facts. But once again, they're using another government agency to push their agenda, claiming that the gun manufacturers are using deceptive practices, which is absolute nonsense. If you remember, after Sandy Hook, they sued Remington using a Connecticut law for how things are advertised in the state. That was basically the way to circumvent the Protective Law for Commerce Act. And that's all that was about. But once again, the FTC apparently in this case has not taken a side. They have not told the gun manufacturers you can't do this, and they're not telling these people, yes, we're going to be on your side in this issue, which is a good thing. But once again, we need to pay attention to what's going on in the background and what these gun control activists are actually up to. Because this is just another desperate attempt to go after the gun manufacturers under the guise of public safety. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I will see you on the next one. Peace.